Hey Deckers, Liam here. The Last of Us just got a really nice patch on Steam, and thanks to it, it is now Steam Deck verified. So what does that actually mean? Well, their patch notes are actually quite impressive. First thing that you'll notice is that when you actually load up the game now, it will detect the Steam Deck and mention some new settings to ask if you wish to set them. It's a really nice touch and nice to see such clear dedicated support here. Obviously, we're going with yes, but after that, you do need to go through it building up the shaders once again, and that will take around 15 minutes or so for both the initial story and the Left Behind DLC, which is done at the same time. So on to what's actually changed. Overall, they fixed a whole lot of bugs as usual and improved performance across the board, but they've also added in some dedicated new settings like a very low graphics preset, a new AI quality setting, and a new dynamic light quality setting. Those of course make it easier to tweak on lower end systems like the Steam Deck to make it run better, but they went even further just for the Steam Deck, so here's a list of changes there. So Steam Deck specific changes, overall improvements to performance while playing on Steam Deck. They addressed a memory leak issue that could cause crashes, which is interesting. Maybe they watched my previous video showcasing that issue. They also fixed an issue where certain button prompts would be misaligned. They fixed an issue changing graphics preset, which could trigger an intense lighting effect. They fixed an issue with the in-game HUD not matching Steam Deck performance overlay FPS value. Fixed a crash that could occur during loading screens. The effects density on Steam Deck now defaults to very low instead of low. And then 3 bug fixes across Lakeside Resort, Pittsburgh, and the outskirts. The question is, what does this all translate to in terms of Steam Deck performance right now, though? Well, taking a look, first, here are the exact settings that I'm using. My only real tweak here is bumping the default FPS cap from 30 to 40, just to really show you what a difference it made, where the game before would often repeatedly struggle to even hit 30 FPS, and it would drop down quite a bit below it. And just for the video, it's at 720p, but obviously I've tested playing it directly in my hands at the Steam Deck 800p directly as well. There's really no performance difference with that. It's just that 720p is a better fit for YouTube videos. Now, onto the crash scene at the start of the game. It's one of the most intense on the system. While earlier patches did help, it still repeatedly dropped pretty hard under 30 FPS, and it simply didn't feel good. But now as we run through, you can see it's often hitting nearer 40, but it will still be dropping down to around 30 and back up again, which is mostly fine. The main point of unlocking to 40 FPS is so I can show you just what an improvement it is, and it actually feels pretty good now as well. Through this scene, I could spot at least 2 split-second moments where it just touched 29 FPS and then shot straight back up. And honestly, if you don't have the FPS counter on, you really won't notice it. The improvements we're seeing here are quite fantastic. Naughty Dog have done quite well from what I can see. Especially if you keep the initial 30 FPS lock, which generally you need for bigger games like this. Not many places will be even as close to how intense this scene is, so you should see good performance overall now. It's fantastic to see developers on games as big as this show such dedicated support for the Steam Deck. It's a good place to be in over a year after the Steam Deck's release, and we're still seeing lots of love from developers to optimize their games for it. Perhaps though in future we might see just a little bit more before release instead of after, but that's a whole different argument on the state of how games launch in general now. There's a big but here though. There is still a problem on Steam Deck, an issue I've showcased in this game and other games that you're about to see coming up. At certain points you may still encounter the RAM spike problem, and you'll see on the HUD at the top it hits about 14.1 gigabyte and then the frame rate drops to basically nothing and it hard locks the Steam Deck. This is an issue in multiple games that really Valve needs to try and solve. Not everyone sees it though, which is odd, and it can cause some confusion, but plenty of people do see it across numerous games. So, Last of Us Part 1 is Steam Deck verified and it does absolutely perform a whole lot better, but some people may still have issues with it locking up. I'm hoping SteamOS 3.5 will help with this problem, and I will be doing lots of testing when Valve eventually drop that into preview. You can potentially get around the RAM issue in this game and other games using Cryo utilities that I will link in the description, as it does various tweaks. But I've seen some comments on previous videos from people who used it and they said it actually doesn't always help, but it is worth a shot because in some cases it will. This RAM issue is such an odd one across multiple games because for the people who see it, you might end up seeing it after only 5 or 10 minutes and then not again for hours when you reload. It's just so random. Again though, it's great to see developers tweak and optimize their games, and it is clearly in all of my testing running far, far better overall. Do let me know how you get on with it now in the comments. I imagine for most people it should perform much better and be actually properly playable. But that's it for now. I'll see you later.